Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Whether you're here for self-help, personal growth, or business inspiration, there's something for everyone. Today we're diving into Platform Revolution, how networked markets are transforming the economy, and how to make them work for you, by Jeffrey G. Parker, Marshall W. Van Alstyne, and Sangeet Paul Choudhary. This book deciphers the power of platform business models, think Uber, Airbnb, Alibaba, and Facebook, and how they're reshaping industries and the very fabric of our economy. Let's start by defining what a platform actually is. The authors define a platform as a business that facilitates value-creating interactions between external producers and consumers. It acts as an infrastructure, setting the stage for these interactions and establishing the ground rules. The ultimate goal of a platform is to connect users, make exchanges happen, and generate value for everyone involved. This is distinct from the traditional pipeline business model. Think of a pipeline as a linear assembly line. A company designs and manufactures a product, then pushes it down the line to the consumer. Platforms, however, create a more dynamic, networked environment. The power of the platform lies in its scalability. They can grow exponentially faster than traditional pipelines because they don't own the resources they leverage. Airbnb doesn't own hotels, Uber doesn't own cars, Alibaba doesn't own inventory. They simply connect the dots. This lack of ownership allows them to expand rapidly without the constraints of managing physical assets. This efficiency is further amplified by what the authors call network effects. The more users a platform has, the more valuable it becomes to each user. This creates a powerful virtuous cycle. More users attract more participants, which in turn attracts even more users. Think about how much more useful Uber becomes in a city as more drivers and riders join the network. Wait times decrease, availability increases, and the overall experience improves, drawing in even more participants. Now, it's not just about sheer numbers. The quality of those interactions is crucial, and that's where curation comes in. Platforms must filter, control, and guide interactions to ensure they're valuable. They must design algorithms and systems that match the right producers with the right consumers, while eliminating spam, fraud, and other negative experiences. The book highlights how platforms are inverting traditional firms. The focus shifts from internal operations to external interactions. Marketing becomes less about pushing messages and more about pulling users in. Innovation is driven by the community, not just in-house R&D. This inversion demands a new approach to business strategy. In the platform world, competition is more complex. It's not just company versus company, it's platform versus platform, platform versus partner, and partner versus partner. Now let's talk about launching a platform. The biggest hurdle is the classic chicken or egg problem. How do you attract producers without consumers and vice versa? The book outlines 8 strategies for tackling this dilemma. One is the follow the rabbit strategy. Amazon leveraged its existing customer base from its online retail business to launch its marketplace platform. They already had the consumers. Opening the platform to third-party sellers was the next logical step. Another approach is the piggyback strategy. This involves leveraging an existing user base from a different platform. PayPal did this brilliantly by integrating with eBay. The book also discusses seeding the platform with initial content to attract users. Think of how essential those first few YouTube videos were in attracting viewers. And the marquee strategy involves attracting high-profile users whose presence draws in others. Launching in a micro-market, a small focused community, can also help a platform gain initial traction. Facebook started with Harvard students, ensuring a high level of interaction among a concentrated group. Another key element in launching a platform is viral growth. This happens when your platform is designed so that users become your marketers. Instagram, for example, encouraged users to share their photos on other social networks, spreading the word organically. Once your platform is up and running, monetization becomes the next big challenge. How do you capture value without stifling the network effects that drive growth? The book explores several strategies, including transaction fees, charging for access, and enhanced curation. The key is to monetize in a way that enhances, not inhibits, platform participation. Openness is another critical design choice. How open should your platform be to outside developers and users? Too much openness can lead to quality control issues, as Wikipedia has discovered. Too little openness can stifle innovation, as MySpace learned the hard way. Finding the right balance is essential. And then there's governance. The rules of the road for your platform. Who gets to participate? How is value divided? How are conflicts resolved? Good governance is essential for creating a healthy and sustainable ecosystem. Keurig's attempt to lock out third-party coffee pods is a cautionary tale of bad governance. Measuring success in the platform world demands new metrics. Forget traditional measures like inventory turns. Platform managers need to focus on metrics that reflect the health of their network. Things like liquidity, how easily interactions occur, matching quality, and trust. The book also explores how platforms are disrupting traditional industries. Platforms eat pipelines because they can scale faster and tap into new sources of value creation and supply. They're also changing consumer behavior, fostering new forms of community-driven quality control, and even aggregating fragmented markets. So, what does the future hold for the platform revolution? The authors argue that platforms are poised to transform even more industries, including education, healthcare, energy, finance, and even government. They envision a future where platforms become the dominant organizing principle for economic activity. The rise of the Internet of Things further amplifies the power of platforms. Imagine a world where everything from your refrigerator to your car is connected to a network, sharing data and facilitating interactions. The possibilities are truly mind-boggling. But this revolution isn't without its challenges. Job displacement, data privacy concerns, and the potential for market manipulation are just a few of the issues that society will need to address as platforms become even more powerful. To wrap things up, let's distill some key takeaways and heuristics from Platform Revolution. Platforms are about connections. They facilitate interactions between producers and consumers, creating value for all. Network effects are the engine of platform growth. The more users, the more valuable the platform becomes. Curation is key. Platforms must manage interactions to ensure quality and build trust. Focus on the core interaction. Design your platform around the single most important value exchange. Solve the chicken or egg problem. Use strategies like piggybacking, seeding, or micro-markets to attract initial users. Monetize strategically. Capture value without stifling growth. Find the right level of openness. Balance innovation with quality control. Govern fairly. Create a sustainable ecosystem where everyone benefits. Measure what matters. Track metrics that reflect the health of your network. Disrupt or be disrupted. Traditional businesses must adapt to the platform revolution or risk being left behind. Thanks for watching. Have you read it? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.